Good morning, everyone. Today we will going to present an assessment plan for grade 3 English lesson. So let me introduce my group member first. My name is Wu Dantong and Xiao Jingwen, Suo Yuhan, Xue Yang, and Li Bolin. The topic of this lesson is Foundation English for several situations. In some simple words, it helps young learners use polite and useful English in real-life situations, like when talking to a shopkeeper or asking for help. In this presentation, we will explain the lesson goals, the type of the assessment used, the simple tasks, and why this plan supports meaningful and confident language learning. Let's begin with a quick overview of the lesson. I'd love to divide it into 6 parts. The first one is introduction, and the second one is lesson overview. The third one is principle of assessment and assessment approach task. The fourth one is simple tasks and the basic highlights. And the fifth is matching learning outcomes and cognitive skills. And the last one is conclusion. So let's go into the introduction first. This assessment plan is for a grade 3 English learners. The English focus on foundation English. That means useful English for real life situations like when asking for help or buying something. Students will learn how to use polite expression and simple conversation to express their need in a respectful way. All the assessment tasks are carefully matched to the lesson's learning outcome. We use good teaching principle to guide our plan. We included both phoneme assessment and assessment as learning. This helps students take part in and reflect on their learning and also improve their skills. In the end, our goal is help students speak English with more confidence, use it in real life situations, and be more polite when talking to others.
Today, I'm going to give you a quick overview of our English lesson, which focuses on functional English for service situation. The lesson is titled Polite Phrase and Practical Dialogues, and it is designed for grade 3 students, lasting a total for 40 minutes. The goal of our lesson is to help students develop polite and respectful communication skills, especially in real-life service contexts such as cafes or restaurants. We have three main learning objectives. First is students will be able to recognize keywords in common service-related conversations. Second, they will learn to use polite expressions with the correct sentence structure such as can I have or I'd like. And third, they will demonstrate respectful communication by using this polite phrase naturally and appropriately. To achieve these goals, we will prepare several engaging activities and assessments. The first one is a listening quiz based on a video, which helps students identify useful phrases and polite expressions. The second is a polite nurse game where students choose the most respectful options in common situations. Then they will take part in a role-play cave scenarios, where they will practice ordering, making recreations, or solving problems using polite English. Finally, students will completely a self and peer reflection using checklists to assess their own and others' communication styles. By the end of these lessons, our key outcome is for students to use polite language confidently in real-life dialogues, not just in class, but also in their daily lives.
This page introduces three main principles of evaluation, align with learning goals, focus on helping students find keywords, use polite language, and show good communication manners. Use different evaluation methods, include both real-time feedback from teachers and self-peer assessment by students. Emphasize real-life practice. Tasks are life-based, like ordering activities to build listening, speaking, and interaction skills. This page shows two learning goals. Find keywords in survey dialogue. Students watch your video and answer multiple choice or fill in the blank questions to check understanding. Practice polite expressions through role play. Students use like could I have to order food and score on grammar, fluency, and politeness. This Thai learning goal is to let students understand and demonstrate the importance of polite communication. This part uses summary evaluation. The student in union fill in a self-assessment form to reflect on whether they have used polite expression. They will also evaluate the accuracy of language and the quality of interaction with each other and discuss the importance of communication with the whole class. This not only exercises students' reflective ability, but also promotes learning and communication between peers.
And today I'm going to introduce the two parts I was responsible for in our practical English for survey sign programs designed for third grade students. To evaluate students' learning outcomes, we developed three types of tasks. The first includes ordering exercise video listening tests and choice-based games. These are used to test students' vocabulary and understanding of basic expressions in a fun and engaging way. By using audiovisual materials and competitions, we make sure the activities fit students' cognitive levels while helping them consolidate the basics. The second type of task is role play here. We focused on students' use of polite expressions. Students practiced polite request, problem solving, and sentence patterns in realistic service. Science. Through role interaction, students were encouraged to express themselves more fluently and appropriately in various situations. To reinforce what they learned, we also incorporated self and peer assessment. Students filled out assessment forms and participated in class-wide summaries. This part helped raise their awareness of polite communication through reflection and peer feedback, which deepens their understanding and supports long-term learning. Overall, this task forms a complete assessment chain from knowledge building to practical applications and finally to awareness reinforcement. The scoring criteria are directly linked to the learning objectives, making the task a strong foundation for classroom assessment. Most importantly, this approach gradually enhances students' practical English communication skills. Thank you.
How we match our learning outcomes with cognitive and affective skills. First of all, doing this kind of alignment helps keep our lesson clear and focused. It lets us plan step by step, starting with understanding, then moving on to using the language, and finally reflecting on how we communicate with others. It also makes sure our assessment actually matches the learning goals. If we say we want students to recognize something, we shouldn't test them on speaking or writing it. Lastly, we followed Bloom's taxonomy, which help us think about different kinds of learning, from remembering and using information to developing values like politeness. So this alignment gives our lesson a clear structure and it helps us teach and assess more effectively. Here's how we match each learning outcomes to a domain and a Bloom's level. RO1 is in the cognitive domain, and we place it at the understanding level. It focuses on students recognizing keywords, price, or quantities in conversations, since they are just identifying and understanding information, not using it yet. Understand is the most appropriate level. RO2 also belongs to the cognitive domain, but this time we choose the apply level. That's because students actually use polite expressions in replay task. They are choosing the right sentences depending on the situation, which shows they are applying what they've learned. Also is a bit different. It's in the affective domain, and we match it with responding. This outcome is not just about what students can say, but how aware they are of being polite and respectful in conversations. That's why we treat it as an affective skill. It involves values and attitudes. So each level was chosen based on what the students are expected to do, whether they are recognizing, using, or reflecting. These levels, C2, C3, and A3. RO1 is about recognizing words and numbers in a service conversation, so it fits the understanding level. Students don't need to produce anything yet. RO2 is about using polite expressions in real situations, like ordering food politely in a replay. That requires applying what they've learned, which is why we choose apply. RO3 is different. It's about showing awareness of politeness, like noticing tone and giving respectful feedback. That's not just language use, it involves attitude and social awareness. So we place it in the affective domain at the responding level. Each level also matches an activity. RO1 is linked to the video quiz, RO2 to the replay, and RO3 to the self and peer reflection.
This thought explains the principle behind our assessment plan. First, we make sure all the tasks match the learning outcome and thinking levels. This helps students learn skills with a clear purpose. Next, we use two types of assessments: ongoing check during learning and reflection by students themselves. This helps students improve their language skills and become more confident. Our task based on real-life service situations. For example, students will learn how to speak polite when asking for help or making a request. We also use clear topic, give different roles to students, and included per feedback. This makes sure the assessment is fair and keep everyone included. In short, our plan helps students to build confidence, speak more fluently, and you understand how to use polite language in real life situation. So that's all. Thank you for listening.